but my 8th grade birthday, my family got into a fight, and that initiated a family divorce. And at that moment, I saw my dad struggle with money, right? Because I didn't know at that time that when your parents get divorced, half your dad's assets is gone. And I didn't know that. It got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to make money and I want to do whatever it takes to make money. That way my dad doesn't have to struggle about paying for credit card bills. Because I remember waking up 4 or 5 a.m. to go to soccer practice, and my dad would look at the credit card bill on his phone while being in the car, just stressed out, saying, well, how are we going to pay for this? I'd also see him go to my aunts and uncles and asking them for money. And that to me really shook me to my core, because it got to a point where we were going to go homeless.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Disruptors. Today we have Benjamin Hoang with Bolt Deals, and Benjamin flew in from Austin, Texas, to talk about how he built $1 million business in high school. Crazy figures. Now guys, I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. The information on this show alone is enough to help you become a millionaire in the next 5 to 7 years. If you take consistent action, you'll become one. And if you guys get value out of today's show, please share this one with someone you know. That way we can all grow together. You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, so let's jump right into it. Let's talk about what was your life like before you went into business for yourself?
Well, business or life before business was school, right? I started this business during the midst of COVID, and there was not much going on in my life besides soccer and school. So what really started the business was at my 8th grade birthday. I can't remember how old I was, but my 8th grade birthday, my family got into a fight, and that initiated a family divorce. So divorce happened, and I live with my father, right? Me and my sister, we decided, hey, we want to live with our father. And at that moment, I saw my dad struggle with money, right? Because I didn't know at that time that when your parents get divorced, half your dad's assets is gone. And I didn't know that. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, I want to make money and I want to do whatever it takes to make money. That way my dad doesn't have to struggle about paying for credit card bills. Because I remember waking up 4 or 5 a.m. to go to soccer practice, and my dad would look at the credit card bill on his phone while being in the car and saying, like, he's like just stressed out, saying, well, how are we going to pay for this? I'd also see him go to my aunts and uncles, like his brothers and sisters, even his parents, right? So my grandparents, and asking them for money. And that to me really shook me to my core, because it got to a point where I thought we were going to go homeless. So I was like, okay, I wanted to become a neurosurgeon back in high school as a freshman. But 6 months of health science classes, I'm just like, maybe this is not for me, right? So during this time, like I mentioned, COVID has happened. So as a freshman in high school, they shut down schools. So we couldn't go to school. And all I was doing was on TikTok and on YouTube, right? Because I have no homework. I can't go play soccer. The whole world's basically on shutdown.
Play soccer. You're in Texas?
I'm in Texas, correct. I grew up in Southwest, and then we moved to Pearland, which is South Houston.
I'm shocked in Texas you couldn't play soccer.
We could play soccer, but nobody could go out of their house. There was like a lockdown. So I was quarantined and all that crap. So I got bit by the entrepreneurial bug, right? So I go on TikTok, I go on YouTube, and all I see is like start a business, the iceberg the iceberg of success, right? You see the tip, and here's what you don't see. And it's funny because those memes actually helped me persevere through my business journey when things were not good. So I looked at every business opportunity there was. There was drop shipping. There was Amazon FBA. There was affiliate marketing. There was wholesaling. I found out about wholesaling from Kang, right, up in Seattle. And I was like, this guy's Vietnamese, and he seems very, successful. I want to do that. But the challenge that I was running into is that I was 16 at that time, 15 or 16, I can't remember. And I found out that you have to be 18 for a contract to be viable, like valid. So I'm like, you can go through the route of having your parents co-sign or whatever, but my dad is trying to figure out how to keep the lights on. I don't think he wants to take any bets like that. So I heard a quote from Robert Kiyosaki. I believe it's by Robert, where he said, if you can learn to market and you can learn to sell, you can do anything in the world. So I went on this journey. I'm like, what business opportunity is going to help me learn these skills, make money, and do it consistently, right? Because during this time, I was a big Robert Kiyosaki fan. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, the school, taxes is a scam. All this propaganda, if you want to call it that, right? And
I don't know if it's propaganda.
It's a good message.
He rants.
Yeah. So the whole thing for me was like, okay, I have to become an entrepreneur, right? Because he has that employee, the quadrant thing.
Yeah, EBSI.
Yeah. So to me, it's like, okay, you want to be a business owner or you want to be an investor, right? So I was like, okay, I have to start a business. So I go to my dad. I'm like, okay, I want to do whatever it takes to start a business. So in high school, I would go to my grandparents' house and try to cut their grass. My aunt, who, was doing well financially, she had her own business where she would do alterations, like clothing and things like that. She would have me like build tables and stuff. Give me $20, give me $30. I go around the neighborhood offering to cut grass for $30. I remember there was a day where I door knocked and I made $120. I showed my dad the cash. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be rich, right? So I was doing anything I could to make money. That way I could start business. And we eventually started by cold calling, right? I pretty much go on I'd go on Google or Redfin or Craigslist or whatever, and I would just cold call people. I'm like, hey, can I help you manage your social media, right? They would send me stuff, I'd post it. So eventually we started out at social media. We transitioned to running ads because it was a quicker direct ROI. And then we dove into like actually scaling businesses, right? Because as I was scaling my business, I quickly learned that a lot of businesses are the exact same.
Oh, yeah.
There's marketing, there's sales, there's some sort of fulfillment, whether that's a product or the service itself. There's operations, so finance and legal, and then there's the team, right? So those 5 pillars, from what I've seen, you can copy that into any business and you can scale it. Right. So for me, it became the point of just scaling or learning those skills, acquiring those skills. That way I could build my businesses. And as I make the mistakes in my business, I can share that with our clients so they don't have to go through the same thing.
This is all sophomore, junior, high school?
Sophomore, junior, high school to this day. I mean, I don't think I've reached the pinnacle of success yet.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Yeah, we'd be in big trouble if that was the case.
Yeah, but for context, everyone that's watching, and listening, you're how old?
I'm 20 now, but a lot of my growth, I started at 15. So the challenging part for me was that I had to do all of this while still going to high school. And that, I remember vividly, it would be every Friday afternoon. School would let out around 2:50. And I just see how happy everybody is, right? I'd see how everybody's happy. They're smiling. They're like, oh, this is what I'm going to do this weekend. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, my day hasn't even started. Because my day starts when I get home after I eat and, shower and stuff. So every single day, I would have to wake up at 6:30, go to school, 8 hours, do nothing besides take sales calls. I'd step out of classes, take sales calls, deal with VAs, and there's tsunamis and monsoons or whatever in the Philippines, get back into class, try and do the work, come home, eat, shower, whatever, work until like 9 p.m., but I'm not done yet. After that, I would hop on a call with my mentor. And my mentor, his name is Joe P. He's up in Wisconsin. He basically has been that father figure for me. And I want to give him the credit and he won't take it. But I believe, and I'm very certain that he made me who I am today.
Yeah.
So if I did it all myself, I could have, and it was extremely hard. But having somebody like him, like a father figure in business, helped me out a lot.
It was like Rich Dad.
Yeah, I was Rich Dad, basically. I never thought about it like that, but now that you mention it, it is exactly like Rich Dad.
Yeah. How did you connect with Joe?
I met him through a coaching program. He was one of the sales managers in the coaching program I was in, and he was incredibly good at sales for some reason. He was like, never use scripts. I'll be like, I just joined this coaching program. He would lead one of the coaching calls, like the group coaching calls. And I would just ask him, I was like, hey, I need to think about it. Like, how do I handle this? And his whole thing was always like, give me context. So like every single time we talk now, we still talk we talk almost every day, all day, every day. And it's because of those conversations, the time that he put into me that made me who I am today. And I am grateful for joining that coaching program, because if I didn't step out of my comfort zone and join that coaching program, I would be nowhere near where I am today. So I met him through the coaching program because he's one of the managers in it.
What coaching program were you joining in high school?
So it was hard because when you join coaching programs, you have to sign a contract.
Yeah.
But I was 17, so that contract's not valid. So what did I have to do? I had to twist the truth. I didn't lie, I twisted the truth. And I told him, hey, I'm 19. And obviously, they're not going to ask me to send my ID or something. So I just told him I was 19 and hopped on a sales call. I was not a very good prospect. It took me, 6 months to hop on a payment plan for like 2 years. And they pretty much, they brought me in, and then I just balls to the wall, started networking with everyone I possibly could to just learn skills.
What was the coaching program for?
Building and scaling marketing agencies. How to scale your marketing agency.
Got it.
Yep.
Was it like a Facebook ad, Instagram ad?
No, it was everything. So they taught.
I mean, like, did they catch you? Like, you're scrolling on social.
Oh yeah. It was that. So I found them through a coach, one of their Facebook ads or whatever. But what really sold me was their testimonials, because I look at their testimonial wall, and some of the people that are on that testimonial wall are the people that I looked up to. They were other agency owners that I wanted to be like.
Got it.
Right. So that one thing I quickly learned is that if you want to sell me, there's 2 ways to sell me. It's consequence. You address the consequence, or you show me a lot of testimonials of people that are exactly in my position.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I found out about that coaching program. I ended up being a coach.
What did it cost you?
$500 a month for like 2 years. So whatever that equates to.
And you're at a point now in your business where you could write $500.
Where I can afford $500?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd say so.
Okay.
I'd say so.
I'm saying back then, like, it wasn't stressful.
Oh, back then. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, because we were doing maybe $10K a month, and then I joined because I was very risk adverse.
You're already making moves.
Yeah, we were making moves. We weren't as profitable as I'd like to be, but we were making moves.
Okay.
I mean, another challenge that I had in high school is that I went to high school knowing that I made more than my teachers. So having them tell me what to do it rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Right. So it got to a point in high school where I just stopped listening to the teachers and I would just work in the class. I mean, I remember vividly in one of the classes I was in, they gave us a test, right? It's like a district assessment, and they call it DA. And they gave it to us, and it was like 100 questions or something. It was ridiculous. The first day, they gave us 2 days to take it. The first day, I did like 10 questions on it because I just didn't try. And then the second day, I completed the entire thing. The teacher looks at me. He's like, hey, Ben, did you do all this yourself? I literally just told him, no, I didn't do it myself. He's like, who did you cheat off of? My friend Chase right here. And then he asked me, he's like, do you think I should fail you? And my ego got the best of me. And I was like, you're the teacher. You're free to do whatever you want. And that's the point in my life where I just didn't care anymore. My dad was really upset with me because the way I looked at it was like, he's an immigrant from Vietnam, comes over here, wants to provide a better education and life for his kids. And his kid is not trying because he thinks he's got this little thing going on, right? So my teachers would call my parents. I would skip classes to go to the gym because I want to look good in high school, obviously. And my dad was not happy about it.
Yeah.
He didn't really see the vision that I had until I started traveling for podcasts. He's like, okay, he sees what's going on now.
Well, it's hard contextually.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
And I agree.
I mean, immigrant, right? I mean, like, I went through that a little bit when, when I quit my job at Intel, right? Realtor of all things. But my parents didn't see it. They're like, this doesn't make sense, right? So I get contextually why he would feel that way, especially when you're still in high school.
Now that I look at it, I see his perspective.
Yeah.
Right. But back then it was just me. Yeah. And I feel like that was one of the hardest parts about business for me is that I was so alone, especially sophomore year. I remember I was just that kid that hated anything and everything. I hated everybody. If you talked to me, I would just try and instantly shut you down, right? If it wasn't about making money or sales, I literally could not talk to you because I didn't know what else to talk about. So my teachers, whatever they would call on me for like, hey, what's the answer to this? I would literally just start stuttering. So, because for me, all I cared about was business. And what I believe, if someone were to ask me like, what are some things that help you get to where you are? I think it was a delusional level of being obsessed, right? That's what I've noticed in the most successful people. And during this quote unquote lonely phase of my business, I always had this thought, and it's from McGregor, where I don't know if it's from McGregor, but it goes along the lines of, if you don't believe in yourself, who will? And just keeping that in the back of my head really pushed me to get going.
He has one of the greatest belief systems in the world.
Absolutely.
Did the teachers know how much money you were making, or just in the back of your mind you were judging?
Oh, it was in the back of my mind that I was
What about
judging.
your classmates?
Some of them knew. Like I would tell some, like I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. So whenever some kids or somebody tells me like, hey, how did you grow a business and what did your friends say about you? I had 2 friends, right? So it wasn't really hard for me because I went from a charter school to a public school, right? So it's like a complete environment change. Like I went from kids with uniforms and lockers, try hard STEM kids to like kids fighting and vaping in the restroom. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it was amazing to me. So to me, it wasn't really hard friends wise.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't just the friends wise. I'm just wondering, like, are you showing up to school in a new car?
No.
Right?
Absolutely not.
Like, were you wearing nice clothes, jewelry?
When I tell you I did not care about school, I did not care about school.
Yeah.
There were classes that I've had that I don't even know the name of the teacher. I don't even know the subject. I just know exactly how to walk to it from when I enter the school building. My friends, they would see it and they would be impressed. They would ask me how to do it. And I was just always like, work hard. And then he's like, oh, nothing's happening. I was like, work harder. So,
so let's talk about your first transaction. So you're calling people to help them with their social media.
Correct.
How did that go? I've got some big news, and you'll want to hear all of this because I'm going to give you the best bonus ever at the end of this video. You all know that I've been providing sales training for 6 years now, and I've had the opportunity to train hundreds of the best teams in the country and thousands of individuals as well. And they've all had wild success along the way, some of which you've even seen on this podcast. You also know Ian Ross, who has been coaching alongside me now for over 2 years. He's the biggest sales geek ever, and he's been training business owners and individual contributors ever since he started working here. He even runs the Close More Sales podcast. But we had a problem. There was a lot of confusion. What is it exactly that we sell here? Is it Disruptors training? Is it Steve Trang training? Or is it Close More Sales training? It's none of those. It is objection-proof selling. Ian runs objection-proof selling for business owners and individuals. I run objection-proof selling for teams where I coach their entire team. And to celebrate the rebrand, I want to give you something that I never would have thought been possible until recently. We've been training this AI bot for over a year now to score all of our sales calls internally. Every call we run, we have the bot review the call to Ian and mine exact standards for sales. We run every one of our team members' calls through the same exact AI bot. And now we're giving it to you for free. This bot will review your calls based on dozens and dozens of metrics. It will tell you what you did well, what you can do better, again, by the standards of the objection-proof selling formula. And if you want to use our bot for free, just head over to our website, objectionproof.ai. Again, objectionproof.ai. I want to emphasize here, you're getting access to our bot, which allows you to get better at sales for free so that you can make even more money now without having to spend another dollar. Go check it out now.
So for context, I started with targeting different niches, right? So I target dentists, I target orthodontists, I target eye doctors, etc. And a niche that worked for me for some reason was car salesmen, right?
Interesting.
So the way I found them was on Instagram, but they weren't my first clients. My first clients were just generally in the automotive space. So my first client was, I called him, he was a mobile mechanic. So I don't know how I stumbled across that niche, but I just did, right? I called up this one guy on a Friday. His name's Christian. And I was like, hey man, I want to help you get more repair jobs or whatever they call them with social media. Like I'll manage your social media. It was like a 20, 30 minute call, right? And he's like, hey, call me on Saturday or Sunday and I will, we can get this started. I'm like, okay, sounds easy enough. I couldn't believe it, but apparently he was right. So I called him. I don't know if I called him on Saturday, but I know that the extra day that I called him, because I normally don't cold call on Sundays. My cold calling schedule was 4 to 6 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and 2 hours maybe on Saturday, right? And on Sunday, I closed that guy being at my grandparents or my aunts and uncles and my grandparents' house, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. He cash apps me $1. So I thought it was a joke, right? And then he cash apps me the other $299. And I'm like, oh my God, I just made my first $300 talking with some guy over the phone.
Yeah.
Right. So he sends me all the stuff, all the videos, all the pictures, whatever. And I start posting. And to me, I remember being so excited and so happy because I finally had proof of concept that I showed my aunt. And the reason why I showed my aunt first is because a few weeks prior, I really wanted to invest in a coaching program. Right. I didn't have the money. My dad didn't have the money, but my aunt had the money. So I went to my aunt. I'm like, hey, I want to join this program. Like, I need $8,000. Can you help me out?
$8,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was like, I'll do it. Like, I'll talk to your dad. Like, I'm okay giving you the money, and you can, if you lose it, I'm okay with that. She was a very wealthy Vietnamese auntie. My dad shut her down, but to me, that made me even more mad, and it drove me to work harder. But I was thinking about this a while back where if my aunt gave me that $8,000 loan and trusted me with that money, I would still pay her dividends every single month, but I won't do it as a Zelle or like a wire transfer. I would do it as cash. I'll tell you why. The reason I wanted to do it as cash is because every weekend, my parents, they all gather together, have fun, party, etc. Not party, but they just get together. They would all get together, and I would want to every weekend just give her the cash in front of all of them because they all talk about it. My dad would talk to them, my aunts and uncles, etc. But I just wanted everybody to see what would happen if you believed and took a bet on me. And that's a thought I had to this day. So,
So she didn't do it. I mean, who knows? If she gives you that money, maybe it might be too easy and you don't do well.
Possibly, right? But to me, everything happens for a reason. And
you do the $300.
Yeah.
The guy has success?
The guy did have success. I kept him as a client for 6 months, right? 6 whole months as a sophomore.
$300 a month or?
$300 a month for 6 months, correct.
Okay.
So
I was happy enough to keep paying you.
Yes, he was happy enough to keep paying me, and then he brought it in-house, but that's a whole topic for another day. After that, I brought on I bought on a Honda dealership.
Well, hang on before the Honda dealership. You're cold calling. Again, sophomore year-ish.
Yeah.
High school.
Yeah.
What sales skills, what talk tracks, what scripts were you using at 16 years old?
A lot of it came from YouTube.
Okay.
There were some people that I would watch on YouTube prior to my cold calling sessions that I would learn their word tracks from. Right. I don't remember what it was, but it went something along the lines of, hey, can I speak to the owner of X? Right. They say, yes, I am the owner of X. Right. Hi, my name is Benjamin. I'm here locally in Pearland, Texas. I just wanted to reach out to talk about how I can help you scale your, or how I can get you more deals, repair jobs, or whatever the case is, using social media. Is that something you'd be open to or completely against? Well, something along those lines, right? And they would say yes or no. They'd be like, how much it costs? And then to me, those are like smoke screens. And then I would just, my method of learning back then was just YouTube videos. Yeah. And shorts or TikToks, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. Great time to be alive. I didn't have that.
It was
did not have that when I started.
I've learned more from TikTok and Instagram than I have from actual school.
Yeah. Okay. So then you pick up a Honda dealership.
Correct. Cold calling.
Talk to me about that story.
So eventually I transitioned from cold calling off of Google to going on Instagram, because if you follow like a person, you have suggested people below. So I had like leads forever, right? And I would text them, but I would also call them because their contact or whatever is in their bio or their button. So I just call them. Exact same thing. And I got this was completely luck in my opinion, but I got a hold of the manager, right? And the manager was like, hey man, what would it take for you to do it for all of us, right? Or the entire, dealership.
Yeah.
I brought him on as a dealership. His name was Bill up in Katy, Texas. And that to me was like, once you pop the first kernel, the popcorn effect, everything else just starts popping.
Yeah.
And that was a very stressful a client for me, right? Because mind you, I'm 15. I have no idea what I'm doing besides how to post on TikTok or on Instagram. And he's texting me at like 2, 3 a.m., 9 p.m. My anxiety is an all-time high. I have panic attacks. I have nightmares of this client. And eventually, I did not live up to their expectations, and they dropped me again. I had to get back to cold calling. So
what were they paying you?
I think it was $800 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
What were the expectations that you did not live up to?
I can't remember. This is like 4 years ago. I think my scope of work was posting the short form. And I was like, hey, if we post, not short form, but posting like pictures in hopes of getting car sales.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, okay, I'm doing my job of the bargain. It's not generating leads. So that's probably why they dropped me.
Got it.
If I had to guess.
It wasn't an ROI.
There wasn't an ROI, correct.
You were doing what you promised to do.
Correct.
This is an ROI.
Correct.
Which is a good marketing decision. If it's no ROI.
Yeah, don't do it.
Time to move on. Okay. So when did you decide, okay, maybe posting on social media is not my specialty?
I can't posting on social media, I knew it's like you're just posting, and if you get lucky, you could possibly make money. But I know that with ads, you run ads, it's direct response marketing. You run an ad, somebody clicks on it, they either schedule a call or they pay directly on the funnel or the landing page, right? So I wanted to pivot over to that because to me, the way I looked at ads is like money in, money out.
Right.
It's just the easiest way to put it about it. With content, it's like you post forever. You can post for 3 years, 10 years until you maybe start to pop off. And most people, they value speed, right? And with ads, it's quicker and easier to justify an ROI as opposed to content. So I wanted to pivot everything over to ads, right? Because those are a lot more scalable.
So for people that are listening, can you just real quick elaborate on what direct response marketing means?
To me, the way my big thing is like, how do I define it, right? Because someone's going to go to a dictionary or whatever. But to me, the way I define direct response marketing as an example is you see an ad, you click on it, and then there is a conversion event. Whether it's a call, whether it's a follow, whether it's a sale, whatever the case is. It's just in and out. That's the way that I define it. It's direct response.
Yeah. So, I mean, for everyone that's listening, they're doing it.
Correct.
Probably, right? But they might just call it marketing. So, like the nuance here, like if you're in information marketing, call it direct response versus branded marketing like Coca-Cola and Honda.
Correct. Yep.
Right. Their marketing.
It's what are you optimizing for, right? So if you look at Coca-Cola or some of these bigger brands, at least the way I look at them is that they're not going to, I'm assuming, they could correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not going to run a scan this QR code to Apple Pay, Coca-Cola to your door, right? They just want to build a brand like Red Bull, right? To me, Red Bull is one of the best companies when it comes to marketing and branding because they're not pushing a product, they're pushing a feeling, right? Their feeling is energy, right? So they got all these crazy people going to space or whatever. So for me, where I'm at, I don't have millions a month to invest into marketing, and most of my clients don't either, at least not yet. We want our prospects, our leads to see an ad, click on it, and buy or call us.
Take action.
Correct.
Yeah. So, all right. So you make this pivot to go to cold marketing. So how was that journey?
To what?
Direct response marketing.
Correct. It was a lot better, but it was also harder. And the reason it was harder is because it was more competitive. Because now people are actually having to spend money, right? They're not just paying me, my management fee. They have to pay ad spend as well. So I completely I completely went from car dealership people because they had no money. They're car salespeople, right? Unless you're anyways. So I went from car salespeople to real estate agents because that was a craze back then, right? If you go into real estate agents, you're gonna make money. Fulfillment is easy. You can get everybody results. I'm like, oh, if everybody gets results and it's easy, why not do it?
Yeah.
But everything is good, or sounds good to be true, in my opinion. But we brought on real estate agents, right? And the way I brought on my first one, I believe, was through Facebook messaging. I would go into Facebook groups and I would just DM people, friend and DM. Just do that 2 hours a day, on top of the online classes that I had because of COVID in high school. So I went through that. I brought in my first real estate agent in Virginia, I believe she was in, and she was paying me $1,500 per month. So I went from getting paid anywhere from $300 to $800 per month for posting to $1,500 per month, and I'm like, whoa, this is awesome, right? Less clients, they have money to invest into ad spend. This is a lot better.
Yeah.
So I brought on a real estate agent, and we ran ads for her for seller leads. And then I remember the client that I brought on after her, which really turned things around. This is like the pivot point, was a guy named Anton in Tampa. He's a wholesaler. But when I contacted him, he's an agent. So he's an agent wholesaler, agent investor. So I started off doing the agent ads for him for seller leads, like retail seller leads to list properties. And then he asked me, can you do the same thing for wholesaling? I knew about wholesaling. I understand how it worked thanks to Kang. But I never got the opportunity. I'm like, this is the opportunity. So we would do that. And that outperformed the agent side because his goal was and faster, easier, etc. And the fulfillment is literally the exact same thing. Besides changing creatives, targeting, everything else is the same. And then I was like, oh my God, I have something that works here, right? Because I wanted to become a wholesaler. I wanted to become an investor. And I just cracked marketing for wholesalers. So at that moment, and working with him was like an absolute dream. Easy client, very nice, very respectful. He could actually close deals. Yeah. Doesn't complain. Anyways, we're not going to dive into that. It's not the lead.
Sounds like you got some trauma from existing clients. Or not existing, previous clients.
Just a little bit, right? So we did it for him. And one of the things I loved about working with wholesalers is that most of them, at least the ones that him who I was talking with, they have business experience. Like they have that business mindset. They have that entrepreneurial mindset of if I spend more money, I will make more money. Agents, for the most part, they don't understand that. They're more pay after you close, and oh my gosh, we go forever. But
yeah, I was shocked when you said realtors were one of your first clients because realtors do not like to spend money on marketing.
Yeah, so it was very, very hard dealing with the realtors. There are realtors that have realtors taught me how interesting human beings can be. Like it truly amazed me that there are some agents that operate and think the way they do. Anyways, with the wholesaler, so I brought him on. I got amazing results, and then I just like, okay, I'm gonna only bring on wholesalers now, right? And back then, this was like 2021, I believe. We could get contracts for like $500. So he would put $500 into ad spend, right? We can get a deal for $10K, $15K, and we were just printing. It was absolutely insane. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go after wholesalers now because it's less competitive. It wasn't as untapped, or it wasn't, competitive yet. So I'm like, okay, this is my niche, and this is what I'm gonna take to the moon.
Yeah.
So that was he has done wonders for my business because he's given me that opportunity.
Got it. Okay. So then so you started going after wholesalers. So let's talk about that. What was the plan on how to find more wholesalers, sell
marketing services?
Because, yeah, it may not have been as competitive back then, but definitely you were not the only one.
I was not. I knew of maybe 2 or 3 other people.
Yeah. So what did you do to grow that side of the business?
It was a mix of a few things. So I did what was already working for me, and that was reaching out to people in Facebook groups, posting my results. That helped out drastically. Another big thing that helped me out was we eventually pivoted to ads, but we added on ads. So I started running ads for myself to get clients, and we would market those results. And those 10x their company basically. And then another thing in addition to that was going to events like meetups and stuff, right? So in Houston, the communities for real estate investing and wholesaling is pretty big. So I would go to those, and my intro was always like, "Hey, my name's Ben. I'm 16, and this is what I do, and here's who I've done it for." And one thing I've learned when it comes to networking is that they're meeting 50 to 100 other people, right? You're gonna shake hands, and my mindset at that time was like, "How can they remember me?" So my thought was like, "Okay, I'm young, and I've achieved some level of success for not only myself, but others as well."
Yeah.
So that framework eventually helped me connect with more people, influencers, and eventually I got those people as clients. And my big thing when it comes to networking events is why should somebody listen to me, or why should they follow up with me post meetup or event, right? So the way I looked at it is like, I'm just selling myself to them now. It's just sales, right? So it was a matter of doing what's working already, because as entrepreneurs, we love shiny object syndrome, and this thing looks pretty. Let's try that, right? Yeah. And so we did that. We did what was working, which was messaging people in Facebook groups. We added on ads to skyrocket our brand, our direct response, get more people in the door. And then we went to events for branding. So I take pictures, meet new people, and that right there, those three things are really what helped me absolutely skyrocket and bring on more wholesalers.
It's hard for me to fathom a 16-year-old at a meetup.
Why is that?
You're not gonna see that anyone that young, right? Like someone's 21, someone's 25. It's like, man, good for you. Right, you're starting early. 16. Like,
but that's what got people to remember me.
I get that.
Yeah.
So Willie Coleman, he was on the show, let's see, back in, I want to say 2019. And I think he had just turned 20 when he was on the show, right? This is back in 2019. Right, so he's an old man now, I guess. But he started going to RIAs and so on when he was 16 years old. He cut the bug early, right? And he had the same thing, like, signing contracts when you're 16 years old. Yeah. But he caught the bug early. He was able to turn it on, make it work. But you weren't going with your parents. Like, you were legit.
My dad would drop me off at them.
Okay.
And he was like, "Why am I picking you up at 9:30 again?"
Yeah.
And he wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I had to like beg him to let me go to these events.
Yeah.
And it was really hard because for me, everything was just going against me. Like the world was just going against me. And the way I look at it is like, that could be the reason I quit, or that could be an amazing story to tell when I make it. Because I remember cold calling in my dad's closet. And the reason why I cold called in my dad's closet, which was on the other side of the house, because it was my sister's bedroom, or me and my sister's bedroom, and then my dad's master bedroom would be on the other side of the house, and he had a big walk-in closet. And I did it on the other side, and I'd crank up the TVs because I was so embarrassed that my dad would hear it, or because my dad wouldn't be home because he's working, and my sister would hear it. So I was so embarrassed. So I'd go in there, and I remember vividly, one of my biggest dreams was always speaking at an event. Right? I wanted to share my story. I shared all this crap that I'm going through. So my whole thing now is like all the challenges and all the obstacles that I go through right now, I believe it's going to help somebody else because they might be going through the same thing.
Got it. So, and that makes sense, and that's a good story. So then when did you started doing ads, it started popping up. So at this point, like, business is easy?
How would I define business as easy at that point? It was easier, right? Because as a business scales, there are things that break. And when things break, you have to learn how to fix it. Learning is not a 1 = 1 + 1. It's not an instinct thing overnight, right? So it takes time to learn how to hire. It takes time to learn how to train. It takes time to make sure that your team is doing what they're supposed to doing, like updating their CRM and updating Monday. Anyways, so it was easy. It was easier, but I wouldn't say it was easy, right? Because we had more money, I had the ability to invest into people, which took a load off my plate. So it gave me leverage to do other things. So I wouldn't say it's easy. It was easier than before because from my experience, when you're lifting off the ground, it's always going to be the hardest. From my experience, the first 2 years is always the hardest because it was hard for me because I'm just trying to figure out what to do and how to do it, right? And then after that, once you get some money, once you learn some skills, you can leverage those skills to hire people, to implement software, whatever the case may be. So I wouldn't say it's easy. It would just be easier. For example, if you were to ask me the same question now, are things easy now? Absolutely not, right? But things are easier than when I first started.
So let's talk about that. So you're doing better, scaling, you're getting all these accounts. So what were the things that were breaking at this time?
Everything. Starting with the back end, right? This was something that a lot of people was against, especially in my coaching program, but I built my agency backwards, right? My whole thing was make sure your clients are happy and then use those results and get more clients.
That's how you bought.
I'm sorry?
That's how you bought.
Exactly. That's how I bought. So that was my entire methodology. And my coach, the coaching program would always everyone would just tell me, I'm like, hey, you have to bring on a lot of clients and then make sure that they're happy. Because if you don't have any clients, how are you going to make sure they're happy? But I was like, I have clients. So I have like 10, 15 right now, right? And it got to a point where I was so paranoid that if I had 10 happy clients that were actually making money, not happy because, oh, he's a nice guy, but happy as in they're actually making money, and one of them was somewhat upset, I'll be like, my company's, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm clueless. I'd go back to the coaching program. I'll be like, hey, like, I can't get this guy results. And this was when I learned the importance of bringing on quality clients. Now, I don't want somebody to be watching this and be like, am I a quality client versus not a quality client? Because there are clients that I look for. There are people that I want to work with. You're not a bad guy. You're not a bad investor. You're not a bad wholesaler. I'm sure you're a great person if I got the chance to meet you. You're just not what I'm looking for. And what I've noticed will help our clients actually scale and win, right? So to me, the first thing that broke was the client success side. Like the team I had was not capable whatsoever. But it wasn't their fault. It was my fault.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to lead a team. I didn't know how to implement systems and processes. I know how to do SOPs. I think I was pretty good at doing SOPs. I enjoyed writing SOPs because I was pretty good at writing essays in high school. So I loved writing SOPs, but I didn't know how to get my team to follow those SOPs.
Yeah.
And now that I look at it, it's like, why should they? Why should they follow my SOPs? Because at the end of the day, if they follow my SOPs and I'm as the company makes more money, they don't exactly make more money.
Yeah.
Right. So that was like one of the sort of stepping stones that taught me about leadership. Right. So back to your question, the biggest thing that broke was client success.
What does it mean for client success to have broken?
So everything fulfillment wise. So as soon as I enroll a client, everything after, the second after I enroll a client, the guy signs a contract and pays the invoice, that's client success from there. So for example, we have something called an ABR call. It says, it stands for anti-buyer's remorse. So as soon as we enroll somebody, within 5 minutes of a client coming on, my director of client success will call and introduce himself to the client. I'm like, hey, so I know you just spoke with Ben. Here, I see where you're at right now. You're at 2 to 3 deals per month. You're looking to scale to 15. Here's exactly what you're going through. Here's your goal. Here's exactly what your obstacles and constraints are. Here's how we propose to solve it. So it's like, the reason is, the second they get off the call, I believe that there's a little bit of buyer's remorse. And my goal is to kill that as soon as possible, right? So we have something like that. So everything post-sale is client success to me.
So it was really more the onboarding process versus like the existing 10 clients. Like the existing 10 clients weren't getting less happy. It was anyone you brought in new.
It was actually, they actually a little bit of it was, because we were bringing on so many clients to the point where these current clients, my quote unquote legacy clients, weren't getting the attention that I believe they deserve.
They're getting neglected.
Exactly. So that's something that absolutely broke. And there are many iterations of us like almost losing our entire agency and having to rebuild it back up again. But I think that's what makes business fun, because if you could do it once, you should be able to do it multiple times.
Yeah. So what were some other big learning lessons there?
Big learning lessons during, let's say, sophomore year. A big one for me that I still carry to this day was, like I mentioned earlier, bringing on the right client.
Mm-hmm.
Our whole messaging and our marketing process, messaging or offer at that point was really tailored towards beginners. It really attracted beginners. And for me, I didn't really know any better, right? So I was like, okay, yeah, we can help you scale.
As long as the check clears.
Exactly, right? A credit card doesn't balance or whatever, like we're good. I would bring them on, and then I would send them all these leads, because I would look at the leads myself, right? In the middle of class, I would copy and paste the lead, put it into Zillow. I'm like, okay, he's asking for $100K, property's worth 110. I think he can make it happen, right? I didn't really know how to run numbers or anything back then. So, and then the clients would start coming to me, and they would be like, oh, some of these, we can't close these leads. I'm like, why not? Because I'm so used to like, just send leads and he'll close it, right? Just give him some motivation and he'll get it taken care of. And the clients started not closing deals. And I'm just like, why is this happening? What are these guys doing? What is Ryan in North Carolina doing that this guy isn't? Ryan's been in the business for 25 years, done hundreds, if not thousands of deals. This guy found out about wholesaling 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, interesting. So it took me almost a year and a half to learn that, because I was just like, I thought I was the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And to be completely honest, I was the problem. I did not do my due diligence on the client and set the proper expectation before bringing them on. I didn't know any better. But to me, I learned.
Yeah.
And I know that I learned is if I don't make that mistake again. Because if I do make the same mistake again, I would classify myself as a not so smart person.
Got it. So we're talking about the context here of, building $1 million business in high school. Now, obviously, a lot of people that graduated high school already that are watching this. So let's just disregard the high school part.
Okay.
But building a $1 million business, would you classify yourself as a marketing agency? What would you call yourself?
Right now, I would consider myself a marketing consultancy, right? Because we help with the marketing, but we also consult with the clients on how to scale. So, and the reason why I define that is because our bread and butter is the marketing, is the paid ads. How do we generate leads? Because if you don't have leads, who are you going to sell? Nobody, right? So our first primary thing is the marketing, but we have coaches on our team, specifically, people that have actually done the business that coach our clients on how to actually scale. So I'll give you an example. Our director of client success, perfect example. He's been in the business for 25 years. So for context, as of this day, he's been in business longer than I've been alive, right? He's coached Fortune 500 companies. And on top of that, he's built a land wholesaling company himself, right? So he teaches me about wholesaling, right? Because he's actually done the business. So I get to leverage his expertise to be able to coach our clients. And he coaches our clients. His specialty is in team building, because prior to working with us, before COVID, he had a company where he would do corporate retreats on building teams and things like that. So I'd leverage his experience and the mistakes that I made to actually help our clients scale. That's why I call it a consultancy as opposed to just an agency.
Okay.
Because anybody can generate your leads.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about, someone wanted to build this, right? Like where are the skill sets? Who are the people that are there? If someone wanted to replicate this business.
The agency or the wholesaling business?
The agency. Because you're doing well on the agency side, right? So if someone wanted to, someone's in high school or college or whatever.
Okay.
But they're like, hey, I want to do this. What are the things they need to know to be successful like you've been successful?
I guess the first question I would have is, before any of that, is why do you want to start this business? Because if the why to you is not big enough, if it's just making money, and I'm not going to sit here and say my goal was not to make money and only make others like that, I would absolutely be lying to you, right? I know I wanted to make money, but I know I would get more fulfillment making other people money and getting a piece of that.
Yeah.
So first thing I'd ask is why do you want to start this business? Is it just for the sake of making money? Because no, you're not going to last very long. You're going to lose to people like me, right? And that I tip anyways. So first thing is, why do you want to start this business? Right? You dial that in, because that why, that statement that you answer is going to push you through when things go bad, when you think you're about to lose your company and whatever, right? So first thing is, have a big why. I know it sounds very wishy-washy, but that's something that helped me, right? From there, skills. The first thing I would learn is, if you're going to sell something, you better try and become the best in the world at it. So in this case, is if you want to start a marketing agency, you should probably learn marketing, right? If I were to go back, I would try an intern for somebody, right? I don't know if they have paid internships. I'm not familiar with how this internship process works, but I try to get some sort of job to learn marketing. Because now, if I get a job or an internship at a bigger company, I can use that name to help me market myself and acquire clients myself, right? So I would start there. I learned the skills, and from there, you start your outreach, right? Start reaching out to people, cold calling. You can text blast people. You can go on Craigslist. You can go to meetups. You can do all these things. Just find one outreach channel and stick to it, right? The second thing is, learn sales. The way I define sales is just the ability to influence people. That's it. You're selling a belief. That to me is what sales is. But the reason why sales has been so life-changing for me is because sales has helped me make money. It has helped me become a better communicator with my team and relationships. It's helped me become a better networker. It's helped me become a better thinker, make decisions more logically. Because for me, the way I justify decisions is I have to sell myself on it, right? So learn sales. It changed my life, right? Just learn sales, right?
You had an argument for me.
Yeah. Learn sales. Sales/psychology. Because if you learn how to influence people, I guess that's very similar to understanding how the mind works, which will help you at sales. So those two things really helped me. I feel like if you learn those two skills, marketing, not only for yourself, but for your clients, you will get clients and you will be able to convert them. And to me, a portion of sales also helps you lead a team, right? You have to sell people on why they should work for you. So as an example, whenever I'm on an interview, right, I'm interviewing somebody that I really want on my team because of the track record that he or she may have. I always go into the frame and I state the agenda of, hey, as much as I am here to see if I'm the right fit for you or you're the right fit for my company, I want you to understand that I am completely aware that you are trying to determine whether or not I'm the right fit for you. Like, are you somebody that wants to stay with me long term? And Steve, at any point in this conversation, if you feel like there's a misalignment, please let me know and we can end this call right then and there, right? So for me, learn sales because it will carry into everything else. Another massive skill that has helped me is finances. Everyone focuses on revenue, but you can't buy a car with revenue. At least I haven't been able to. I don't know if you have, Steve, but I haven't been able to buy a car with revenue. To me, profit is what matters. But I actually go a step deeper. There's profit and then there's free cash flow. To me, the way I define free cash flow is how much money I can take outside of the business after reinvesting into tools, material, property, equipment, whatever, that I take outside of the business and actually buy cars, buy houses, things like that. So the thing that I focus on and I stress our clients and our partners to focus on is that number below profit, free cash flow. So once I've learned that, and the reason why this whole thing of learning about finance has been so important to me is because I remember last year we hit an insane revenue month, right? I was 19 doing like $150,000 per month in the agency. I look at the profit at the end of the month. I'm like, why is this? I mean, it looks nice, right? Because my bookkeeper screwed it up, but that's a topic for another day. But my bank account didn't reflect that. So I'm like, where's all my money going? So I just didn't understand. So I went on this whole YouTube thing of like learning accounting, like how to read a balance statement, how to read a P&L. What does this mean? What percentage of my marketing, what should my marketing expense be on my P&L? Like things like that. So because of that mistake that I've made in my business, I share it with my other clients and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm running through the same thing. And a part of me makes me somewhat sort of happy that I was like, okay, maybe I'm not the only one that made this mistake. I'm not alone. So I take those lessons, I share it with our clients. That way they can be more profitable, because at the end of the day, that's what most people, especially wholesalers that I speak to, are in this business for.
Yeah.
They're not venture backed or anything. So
Well, I think the whole deal with understanding accounting,
Mhm.
I think that's a skill that separates the wealthy from everybody else, right?
Yeah.
We can all drive revenue. We can learn how to drive revenue.
Mhm.
P&L, profit's nice too.
Yeah.
But we've talked about it on the show before. Profit isn't everything. It's like, how can profit not be everything? It's like, you can still run out of money.
Yeah.
Running a profitable business.
Yep.
Right. And so we have Marcus Kriegel. He's going to be here in a couple of weeks talking about finances and so on, because that is the key for the wealth component.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on a couple different things. First, can't buy a car with revenue. I would disagree with that. Only if you have a big enough company where you can just get loans against it. For example, Facebook, Tesla, and so on, right?
I feel like Facebook and Tesla makes a little bit more money than I do. So.
Open door, right? Like these guys don't make money the way you and I have to make money, where we actually have to like have a profit.
Correct.
Right?
They have leverage. They have investor capital, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah. So you can do it, just not quite at our level.
Correct.
The other thing, though, you're talking about you got to find your why. So I disagree with this only because, like you, we started poor. I started poor. And it was all about making as much money as possible. Eventually, I found my purpose. But it was a long journey to find my purpose, right? To find my why. I just knew I was going to crush and dominate regardless. I didn't know what my why was. I didn't know what my purpose was. I just knew I was going to win. So that belief system was enough for me. And I do think that there are a lot of entrepreneurs that have that. So if you're in it just for the money, I agree to some extent that, yeah, if you're in it just for the money, you're going to quit when things get hard. But if you're in it for the money and you have a chip on your shoulder, the why doesn't have to be crystal clear yet. Eventually you'll find the why.
Gotcha. So I guess what you're saying is if someone is just in it as an example for the money, I guess the question I would have is, would they be in business long term?
So if it's just money by itself, no. But people that don't have a purpose or don't have a clear, distinct purpose, are in it for the money, can succeed so long as they have this other inner drive. So there's an assessment, Strengths Finders. Have you taken that one?
I have not.
So on that one, I've got they talk about there's 32 skills or something like that, and then you get the top 2 or 3 for free, and then to learn the rest you got to pay for it, right?
Okay.
$37 is not a big deal.
Okay.
And I want to say number 1 for me was learner, love to learn, addicted to learn. Number 2 was achiever, and achiever, what is said there is that you want to achieve and you don't know why. That's specifically what it says in there. I was like, oh, that's me. That makes total sense. I want to win. I want to beat you, but I don't know why it's so important to me.
I feel like the answer, the achievement of winning is enough.
Well, I would say if that's the case, you might not be clear, right, on your purpose, because eventually I did find my purpose. But man, the roundabout way, right? Because you got Simon Sinek's video, the TED Talks start with why, right?
Yeah,
video,
that's his book. Yep.
Right. I think it's the 5th most viewed ever on TED Talks, is 70-something million views.
Oh wow!
Right. Great talk. Didn't really care for the book because I thought it was just the same thing as the video.
Yeah.
But there was another book after that, which was Find Your Why. And that book actually helped me figure out my purpose.
Interesting.
Right? Because here are all the questions. And it's not even it says find your why, but it's about helping someone else find their why. So I don't even understand the title. Right?
Yeah.
But I got it because I want to find my why. So I want to do it. So I went through the book, and you're not supposed to do it for yourself, you're supposed to do it for other people.
Correct.
But going through, it's okay, that makes sense. I want to help other people, and that's what fulfills me. That's what drives me. Right? So what you said a moment ago, you want to make a lot of money so that you can help a lot of people, and you can just keep a little bit of it. That makes you happy.
Correct.
That's me too. I didn't know that when I started. It wasn't until I started coaching people, I was like, oh man, watching people win, this is great. this is fulfilling?
I think for me, it came because of the fact that I remember when I closed my first client, Christian, I was only happy for an hour. And I still have this feeling to this day, but it's like bringing on a client, it feels fun. That check hitting, it feels great. But seeing a client close and make money, that way they can take care of their team, that makes me even happier.
Right.
So that to me, I guess, has been my...
But that was when I had that experience is when it clicked.
Okay.
Getting clients, getting commissions, that was never, like, that was cool.
Yeah.
Right? It's the dopamine hit.
Yeah.
It was temporary.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I opened my brokerage, I was bringing realtors in, I was transforming realtors' lives. I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
But when I was helping a homeowner sell their home,
Yeah.
when I was buying people's houses for cash, when I was helping a young couple buy their first house, like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And the commission's nice.
Yeah.
But this is not rewarding. Right. So it took a while. So I guess where I'm going with this, everyone is watching that doesn't know the purpose, is to keep going and your purpose will reveal itself.
Yeah.
So long as you keep going.
For me, again, and I'll stay firm on mine. For me, what worked for me has been is having that why very early on, right? Yes, it absolutely is.
But I would make the argument again, like I would say you're in the minority in that you got to know it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So like, here's the other thing, right? So I have my own different coach, and he's talked about like the problem with defining your why question. His perspective is a why is always in the past, right? Purpose is the future. Why is you're running away from something?
Interesting.
Because if I ask you like, hey, why did this happen? It's always in reference for the past. Why did you do this?
Yep.
Why do you want to do this?
Yeah.
It's always in the past. Ask a what and how question. What are your goals? What's your purpose? What do you want to accomplish? These are future-oriented questions.
Oh, I like that. That's
right. So that's the reason why. Like,
yeah. So
I stopped asking, "What's your why?" I want to say over a year ago.
What's your purpose?
What's your purpose?
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah.
Now we're talking about, okay, here's where I want to
go.
So, like I said, I think you're very fortunate that you knew it early, because there are a lot of people like, "What's your why?" and they just get stuck.
Yeah.
Right. And I was that person for the first half of my career. So, okay. So then let's talk about, you're also mentioning hire based off track record. What are you doing to find people's track record to figure out who you want to hire?
What am I doing to hire people's track?
Hire people based on the track record, right? So it's easy to say, right? It's obvious thing. Like, hey, make sure you hire someone who's done it.
Yeah.
How are you inspecting to ensure they're not full of it?
Hey, my name is Brian. I'm a real estate investor. Ian Sales Training has helped me buy more houses at a deal.
It's funny because my creative director is on the other room watching this, and I don't want to say it. I don't want to say poach, but provide others with a better opportunity that aligns with their long-term goals. So what's worked for me is obviously being in Facebook groups and networking, right? And somewhat reaching out to people that I know have done something, right? And just offering to hop on a call, getting some sort of coaching, paying for a coaching consulting session or something. And I actually learned this from Dan Martell, right? And I wish I had his book when I first started because that would have saved me so much time, energy, and stress. But I remember his process when it came to networking and recruiting was he would go on LinkedIn and he would DM people or message people, hey, can we do a consulting session? Or who do you know? His line would be like, who do you know that is as good at this as you are? Mm-hmm. And most people would all be like, I'm pretty good. I mean, I'm down to hop on a call. Why would I bring you somebody else? So that was his like bait to, from what I saw, to get people on a call and eventually nurturing, keeping a solid recruiting pipeline and consistently keep in touch.
Yeah, that's a secret right there.
Yeah,
That's a sneaky secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, hey, who do you know as good as Facebook marketing as you?
Really, the big thing has been referrals. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. Referrals, seeing and this goes to salespeople as well. Like, if I'm trying to recruit and hire salespeople, my mindset is always like the best salespeople are already working somewhere.
For sure.
Right? Like, how do we get those people into ours? Maybe it's because they have a manager that they absolutely hate. There's absolutely no lead flow. Mm-hmm. The OTEs, on-track earnings, were overpromised and they're nowhere near. Like, there's no clear alignment to actually achieve that. There might be no growth potential. Mm-hmm. Right? So the same way, this is why I say sales is so important. If you can learn to sell a prospect as to why they should work with you, why they should sell their house for you, you could probably sell somebody to quit where they're working at right now, where they're not satisfied, and come work with you where you could provide a better opportunity. And this is exactly why I never refer to it as poaching. I'm simply providing a better opportunity where both parties win.
Yeah.
That to me is how I would define sales.
Gotcha. Now there's also, so we talked about a lot of the challenges and we talked about like, the wins and so on, but there's also the raw side of entrepreneurship. What's the raw side of?
What is the raw side of entrepreneurship? It's not like it looks on social media.
No?
Like I thought it was like all Lambos and mansions and yachts and stuff, but unfortunately,
we just gotta rent the Lambos and the Airbnbs and you'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. But I was misled. Someone lied to me. Mm-hmm. It is not as pretty as it seems to be on social media from my experience. And I have a belief, and I guess some people would call it a hot take, where if somebody says, if I ask somebody, how is business going? Mm-hmm. And they say, oh, business is going great. In my personal opinion, I believe it's a lie. Mm-hmm. Because from my experience and working with my clients, business is never going good. There's always something that's going to be broken, right? It might not be like, oh, you're about to lose your company, but something's going to be broken. A manager left, a process broke, CRM's down, something, right? So it's not as it seems on social media.
Right.
And the raw side is that I believe that every business has some parts of it that suck, right? It's just, does the pros or what's working outweigh the bad stuff, right? So, for example, the agency team, salespeople as an example, they have to take a leave, right? So, boom, I have to jump back on sales calls, right? I don't want to, but it's like, okay, I'll do it, right? Or one of your operations manager screwed up an automation with a client, and now there's 20 leads that came in the last day, and the client spent $5,000 on these leads in ad spend, and they didn't go to the CRM. Right, so a client's pissed. They're about to leave. They're like, "Where are all my leads? Yada yada yada. Are you stealing my leads and trying to anyways, you got internal politics, right? I haven't had much of this now, but before we did, I mean, I would have like a manager that you'd play games while yelling at everybody else, right? Just terrible leadership, right? Whose fault that? That's my fault. We got CRM. Oh, for example, the big one was the H2P thing. That screwed us for like a month, right? There were mistakes I made where I would post things that I did not have permission to post, right? For example, whenever a client would get a deal, I would screenshot that. I'd screenshot the information of the contract and I would post it on Facebook, right? With the seller's information and stuff. I didn't know that. But the client, I mean, I remember I've had clients leave me because of that.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. trying to think what else. You got clients, I'm trying to think of a really good one. What's a unique one? I had a client on a check-in call once who was not happy. I can't remember exactly why, but he would do like some weird demon ritual or something. It was really weird. I can't remember. It was really weird for me. And I thought I was gonna be like possessed or something, and my entire business was gonna get blown up. And then the biggest one is a mindset thing.
Yeah.
And here's why I say that. And I guess the reason why I say that is because when I first started business, my mindset was very, very bad. And the reason why I say it was bad is I had a very scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
Right? I never want to invest into anything. I don't trust anybody. Like networking is, only for their benefit, not mine. Just all the limiting beliefs that I believe I had, right? And the biggest growth happened when I overcame those limiting beliefs. For example, not everyone's going to steal from you.
Yeah.
Right? Some people will. Some people will try and cheat you, but not everyone will, right? And understanding that bad things are going to happen. Something that was really hard for me to swallow was that business cannot be 100% perfect. Everyone would tell me, my coaches who's doing 7 figures, 8 figures in that coaching program, they would tell me like, oh, nothing can be perfect at all time. I'm like, maybe not for you, but for me, it's going to be perfect. Just watch, right? And this goes back to the fact that I had a delusional level of confidence and obsession. So things like that is what the reality.
You talk about like the nasty side, right? And how it's not sunshine and rainbows and this and that.
Yeah.
So I would say like, and they're saying it can't be 100%, like 1 or 2% at a time, everything's perfect.
Yeah. Let's see how long that lasts though.
Right. 1 or 2% at a time.
Yeah.
It's all perfect.
Yeah.
And then this complaint.
Yeah.
This broke. This automation. This happened. Someone's upset. Someone's thinking about leaving. Right.
Yeah.
But like, for like, there are periods of time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like for an hour or 2 hours every single week. Like, man, things are great.
Yeah. And the mindset I have is always like, you be grateful for the good times because understand the storm's coming. It always is going to be there, right? And unfortunately, I have not found a way to control that yet. But for me, things, even my clients as well, it's like we have clients doing 20, 30 deals a month, right? On the sales call, it sounds great. Like you got a sales team is happy, sales manager, you got Dispo TC dialed in. You bring them in, you look at their P&L. I was like, oh, so where's the money? You guys, where's the profit? I was like, oh no, that's the problem. Like that's why we brought you on. I was like, gotcha. So at least there's something to fix, right? So to me, business, and for anybody watching this, if you want to take advice from a 20-year-old, but anyways, business will never be 100% perfect.
Yeah.
Not from my experience. And anyone that tells you it is, I believe they're lying.
Right. So you said the mindset was a big thing, right? So you started scarcity mindset and now you've changed your beliefs. What did you do to change your mindset?
I found Joe. The reason why, a little context about Joe is that he knows what I'm thinking before I know what I'm thinking. Like he knows what I'm gonna say and how to act. He's like my what's that dude from Star Wars, the green thing, the Yoda? Yeah, that guy or girl. Joe's like my Yoda, right? He knows exactly what I'm gonna think. He knows what decisions I'm gonna make, exactly what's gonna happen. He could read my mind without me having to say anything. So the biggest thing that helped me was him. He would sell away these limiting beliefs, right? He would logically explain to me and influence me, persuade me on why these limiting beliefs are not going to help me and what would happen if I maintained those limiting beliefs, hence consequence, right? It's like, oh, if you have this limiting belief, here's what's going to happen 3, 6, or even 12 months. So having somebody like him in my network has been very, very helpful. And one of the other hot takes that have ruffled some feathers that I believe, based off of my experience, is that coaches want you to do good, never better than them. Mentors do. Again, this is my experience. And then another one is you pay for coaches and you find mentors. And I feel like the reason why that has ruffled some feathers is because some coaches try to position themselves as mentors. And the way I look at mentors, or if I had to define what is a mentor, is somebody who just wants you to do, someone who truly wants you to do good without any benefit towards them. That's how I would define a mentor. A perfect example would be your parents, right? My parents, right? They want me to do good, and obviously they want me to do better than them. And it's not like I'm paying my dad to be my dad, right? But if I wanted to get better at soccer, for example, I would hire a coach, right? But and again, this is just my opinion based off of my experience. If I did better than a coach, he would develop some sort of envy and he would try to like slow me down. That way I'm not ahead of him, because if I'm ahead of him, why am I still paying him? So that's been my experience. But going back to Joe, he's been somebody that, from what I've seen, truly wants me to win at with little to no benefit to him.
I see why you wrestle some feathers with that statement.
Why? Why do you feel it that way?
You're saying if the blank statement is that coaches don't want you to do better than them, I can see why coaches are upset with this statement. Right. A lot of people in the coaching industry.
Coaching is not a bad thing. Coaches help me become who I am today. I'm just saying, generally speaking, these are my opinions, and if it bothers you, then okay.
So the other thing you were saying earlier, going back to social media and what they're talking about entrepreneurship, you felt like they lied to you. Right. But on the flip side of that, it was TikTok and Instagram that pushed you down this road.
Correct.
And so my first mentor, when I got into the business, I didn't realize at the time, was lying to me the whole time. My mentor.
Okay.
Right? But I'm incredibly grateful that he did. So a lot of the other people he mentored, because we're all working together, right, were very upset. And like they were pissed off, lost trust, and like, whatever, screw him. Like, we're moving on.
Is this for the agent when you were an agent?
Yeah.
Okay.
But for me, I was like, well, whatever. I have all the success I have because he told me what I needed to hear.
Yep.
Right? Was it the truth? Was it reality? Or no. But it's what I needed to hear to start my journey, quit my job, right, at Intel, to believe in this other reality, right, of being self-employed and doing all these other things.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said he was a mentor, not a coach, right?
He was a mentor. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I paid him in that he was my broker.
Gotcha. There's a quote that just crossed my mind. I feel like mentors tell you what you need to hear. Coaches tell you what you want to hear. Because if you tell them, or if the mentor tells you what you want to hear, you're gonna be like, okay, I get validation. It sparks dopamine, and I continue paying them. And I guess that's also that's just the thought that I had just now, where mentors tell you what you need to hear, coaches tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah. And like for me, I have no animosity towards him. Now he's got animosity towards me because like a lot of his people end up working for me. Right? Okay. So there's that. But I'm so grateful because if I had not met him, who knows, I might still be in a W-2 world.
This is a quote that this is something that Joe taught me. He I can't remember what we were talking about because it was a while ago, but he said it takes a village to raise a kid, right? And what this means for me is that people will come and go, right? There are friends that I've started out with where we grew businesses together that are just not here anymore, right? They're coaches and mentors.
They were here for the season.
Exactly. Yep. So I feel like that is something that most people don't see about business, right? And it's hard when some of those relationships get.
Well, I mean, it's funny because you mentioned coaches, mentors, right? So like I got another mentor, Nick Peterson, and his thing was like, you got coaches, right, and they'll get you from here to here. Like their job is to get from here to here. That's it. Right? Yeah. You got the mentors, whose job is to pull you up, right, push you past your comfort zone.
Yep.
Right. They're not necessarily technical. It's like get you past your comfort zone. And the last thing he says, you got your ring man.
A ring man?
Yeah, so the guy in boxing, right? The guy that's in your corner. Corner man.
Okay.
Corner man, right? Who's basically like, corner man, where he is like constantly telling you like, hey, this is about to happen.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a little bit like Joe. This is about to happen. Be ready for this. Hey, this is about to happen. You need to level up on this skill for this next part of your journey.
Yeah.
Right. And this is typically what he says, like someone that's like 60 plus, because they've seen it all. Right.
Well, Joe's 50 plus, and I yeah.
But like I'm 45. So per Nick's definition, I'd be a good mentor, but not necessarily a good corner man, because I can't tell you everything that's gonna happen. I feel like I could do a pretty good job of it, but per his definition, the guy that's 60 who's mentored a lot of people, he can see, all right, he's about to crash and burn.
Wow.
Right? Like, hey, this trajectory he's on, he's doing good now. He's gonna do good for another 3 years.
Yeah.
But he is on the path. Something bad is about to happen.
Yeah.
Right? But you can only see that when you're 60 plus.
The beautiful thing is that you can ask your mentor, Nick, as an example, why he feels like that's the case. Like, why do you feel like he's about to burn? And he'll tell you exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 why he's about to burn. And I was like, okay, cool. I just got to avoid that.
Yeah. What was it? Charlie Munger, right?
Yeah.
If you can tell me exactly where I'm going to die, I'll make sure I'll never go there.
Oh, I never heard. I thought you were gonna say the other quote where it's like, oh, if you tell me like you tell me the incentive, what will happen.
Yeah, you show me the incentive, I'll show you the result.
Yeah,
something along those lines.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking about how you got here, but let's talk about Bolt Deals.
Correct.
So what is Bolt Deals?
So Bolt Deals is a marketing agency, specifically a marketing consultancy that focuses on helping wholesalers scale with predictable marketing and a profit-first methodology. Mm-hmm. So we run marketing campaigns specifically on PPC. We used to do Facebook, but we pivoted over to PPC in order to generate higher quality leads of sellers who need to sell as opposed to just wanting to sell. I call them sellers who are serious, not curious. And we use our marketing skills, our sales experience, team building, et cetera, to help our clients build profitable wholesaling companies.
So interesting that you lead with profit first.
Correct.
Why do you lead with profit?
Because many wholesalers, and I'm glad that you asked that, because many wholesalers, when we first hop on our initial discovery call, they think they want more leads, higher quality leads. But my question is always why? Mm-hmm. Because they can convert into deals. Okay, but why? So I can make money. Okay, so you're aiming for revenue. Is that correct? Are you sure? Mm-hmm. No. Yes, I'm sure. I was like, okay, so profit is not important to you. And they're like, oh, no, we want profit. I was like, okay, so you're not optimizing. You don't want the most amount of leads. You just want the most amount of profit. Is that correct? Like, cool. So we shift the entire conversation to profit. Because if we can get a campaign, a 7x ROAS, and they're at a 2x ROAS right now, nothing else has to change. They're going to be more profitable.
Right.
So what are the few levers that we can pull in order to maximize output, throughput, in this case, profit, right? So, for example, many wholesalers that I've spoken to, they run into the issue where as they scale, there's diminishing returns, especially on the profit. Not only does their margin go down, but their just net free cash flow, it goes down, right? And the mindset they go into is like, wait, I was making more, or I was making the same at 2 to 3 deals per month than I am at 10 deals per month. So why not just scale down, right? And more stress. You got to deal with, VAs, salespeople, all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Right. So for me, we want to work with our clients because, I guess another reason why I say profit is that in order to get what you want, let me rephrase that. You have to know what you're optimizing for. Mm-hmm. If you're optimizing for the most amount of leads, you're going to get the most amount of leads.
Makes sense.
You get a cluttered pipeline now, and your sales team doesn't suck on their thumbs all day, right? And you get the most amount of contracts as an example. You tell your salespeople, hey, we want a dog load of contract. They'll give you contracts. But if 20% of them actually go to the closing table, it still sucks.
Right.
You want the most amount of closed deals? Obviously, this is very important because without deals, you can't really have profit. Hey, we want the most amount of deals. But then the question becomes, would you rather get 20 or 10 deals at $5,000 a pop, $5,000 assignment fees, or would you rather get 2 deals at $25,000 a pop? You're still making the same, but it's just volume. Most people would say the $25,000 2 times, right? The question is why.
Or the $25,000 10 times.
Yeah, that too. But the question is why, right? It's less work, but they're making the same, if not more. Mm-hmm. So if you draw it out on a line or write it out, everybody wants profit. At least most people that I speak to, that's what they really want, mm-hmm. right? And the way we do that is by starting off with having profitable marketing campaigns, right? And then good sales, because if you lock it up too high, either there's no margin or the deal doesn't actually close, right? And then you have a team, right? Because from my experience of what I've seen working with wholesalers, 5 deals per month is that quote unquote hypothetical max of what you could do solo. And then you have to bring people on, right? So now you have to learn a new skill set of hiring, training, and managing new people. But then the question becomes, with salespeople, since you are paying them a commission, right? The more, the bigger the assignment fee is, the bigger their check is, right? So how do you bring on a team, add on these softwares, and still be profitable? So that's what we work with our clients on, right? Optimizing for profit or free cash flow.
Yeah, got it. So it sounds to me, in principle, all those things sounds great.
Oh yeah.
The differentiating factor is you work with the business owner.
We work with their teams as well.
Yeah, you work with the client, their organization.
Correct.
So it's not just like take the credit card
and run ads
and then hand you off to an account manager.
No.
It sounds like you're still passionately involved in all this.
Absolutely, 100%, right? And I'll dive into this rev share partner private client thing in a second, but with all of our clients, we're not just running the marketing campaigns. We train their sales team as well. Not me specifically, but someone who's actually done it, because I've never closed a wholesale deal. I've closed a flip. I've done flips, but I've never closed a wholesale deal. So my logic is like, if I've never done something, what right do I have to teach you, who's done this business for 5-10 years, how to close a deal, or even your team, right? So that's where my director of client success comes in. He has the experience. He has a track record. He has the HUDs to prove it. Coaches our clients' teams. My zone, if my big thing is like, I'll help you with finances, I'll help you with leadership, and recruiting. Those are like my main 3 things, right? And if you want to get some motivational talk, you can go to JT for that. I'm a little too blunt, and some people take it the wrong way, but we're also in the sales space, so it's like people sort of like it, right?
I can definitely see that. What else makes you different?
The biggest one is obviously the marketing, but we work in our clients' businesses. I'm training their sales team. With some of our clients, as an example, we talk with the acquisition managers and the sales managers more than we do the CEO or the CEO or the COO, right? So we actually, best way to put it is we are like a fractional marketing consulting firm, right? I don't ever treat a client as if they are a client or an account or another number on a roster. More so, we are an extension of their company, right? Because everything that we do is under their name and their brand. I'll give you an example. Like just this yesterday, right? I'm talking to a seller right now for one of my clients, one of our private clients, where we're trying to save this deal, right? We got the deal under contract for we originally offered $25,000. We went up to $45,000, and the deal's closing in 10 days. The seller wants to go up to $65,000. I spent 2 hours on the phone with them yesterday. They're like, "Hey, we want $65,000, but we're willing to take $54,000 or $55,000. I can't remember. I'd have to check." And closing in 10 days, and I'm like, "We got a buyer secured, etc." And I'm like, "I really don't want to change this, right?" So I try not to do this, but I will sometimes take sales calls or talk to sellers with our clients. And to me, it's kind of fun too. Because I'm an external, I'm not as attached in the sale. So I would say those are the big things that make us different.
So then with this model, there's a limit to how far you can scale.
100%.
You've acknowledged and embraced that, or you're like, there's something's going to change?
I absolutely agree. Like my goal is to not have 200, 300 clients. I've been a third of that, and I love all my clients and I appreciate every single one of them, but it was not fun. It sucked.
So you want to roll your sleeves up, get dirty, get involved, and be a part of your clients' businesses.
Correct. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It is so fun because I get to see everything in the entire operation. Like you can't hide from me.
Yeah.
Like if I see like your MQL rate, MQ is marketing qualified leads. So how many opt-ins actually become qualified leads who need to sell? If I see that's down, I will get on my team like, hey, we got to fix this, right? If there's a sales constraint, right? I'm like, why is your guys' speed to lead 7 minutes? Like so a part of the onboarding that I do is that we see who their competitors are. And my way of go to you, and I love Top Gun Maverick, and you'll see how this attaches to it in a second. But like, Steve, if you don't call this guy selling homes, they will, right? So what do you think is going to happen? Steve, don't tell me what's going to happen. Show me what's going to happen, right? So to me, I want to make sure that our clients are on top of their stuff because they are going to be my quote unquote walking billboard.
Yeah.
Right. So in other words, quality of clients over quantity of clients.
Yeah.
And that is something I am absolutely okay with.
Yeah. Well, it's good. I mean, you're clear, which is big. I want to, before we transition, one thing that's funny is you lost a client because you posted a contract on Facebook.
Not a client, multiple clients.
Really?
Yep.
You post multiple contracts?
I didn't learn from the first time. Yeah. I learned from the first time and I was, anyways. Yeah.
What were they upset about?
Leaking private information or confidential information, something along those lines. Yeah. I don't want to get religious or anything, but, or get canceled, but.
That's insane to me. Like for me is like, whatever. You're sharing successes.
I am, but I mean, I understand why he saw that to be a problem because he's like, oh, it's under contract. What if somebody tries to swoop in and steal the deal? Like, I get it.
If someone's giving me a 5, I don't know what your typical ROAS is. But if someone's giving me a 5 to 10 ROAS, I'm gonna be pretty graceful. Now, if we were like 2.5, and I've been like annoyed, okay, for sure, that's the straw that breaks the camel's back.
So I'll tell you something that we've also dealt with multiple times as well. So Steve, you obviously have competitors, like when you were still wholesaling, right? You're in Phoenix also. So
there's a few.
Just a few. If I post you and your competitor sees that I'm running your marketing and I'm helping you achieve XYZ level of success, and their marketing, they want to achieve XYZ level of success as well, who are they going to come to? They're going to come. Exactly.
Yeah.
And is that going to bother you?
No.
Well, with our clients, yes, it does. Because there are clients in the same market. From my experience, our clients don't like that, right? Yeah. It's funny because they're like, oh, we've worked with so many other marketing agencies before. We'll shout you from the rooftop.
No one wants to share the secret weapon.
I'll tell you, and this is the line in the sand that really proved me this was the case. I had a guy that was a part of Love is Blind, this Netflix show, this dating show. Okay. Right? He has 500,000 followers on Instagram, right? And he tried to get me to work for free and offer to promote you to his Instagram, right? I ended up saying no, but we still closed him for what we asked for. We got this guy like a 11x ROAS in 6 weeks. I have the number because we had his partner on a podcast in Austin a few weeks ago. He did 347,000 in closed and funded deals in the first 6 weeks, right? And guess what I asked him? I asked him, hey, could we get a shout out? Nothing.
Yeah.
Never happened. So to me, I love the conviction and how confident, and I love that the fact that you trust us with the most important part of your company, which is the marketing, to run it for you. But I will have to see it to believe it.
Yeah. It's funny to me that someone can't solve that. So someone wanted to work with both deals. How would that work?
There's many ways. You could obviously go on our website, boltdeals.io, and fill out the short form where I can learn more about them, their business, what's going on right now, and how I can help. Or if you want to get a hold of me directly, you can message me on Instagram at official Benjamin Hoang, Hoang. And I have a YouTube channel as well where I document everything that we're learning, every mistake, everything that's working for us right now, today. And you can take the information, go make money, and if you do, and you want to make more money, you come to me.
There you go. Simple.
Yep.
What does your life look like right now? I mean, you're 20. I'm imagining no responsibilities and obligations. You're doing pretty well.
Not that I know of. I'm just joking.
Yeah. What does your life look like right now?
I'll break it into categories, right? So professional life. I wake up around, Aaron, what time do I wake up? 6:30. I wake up at 6:30, right? Takes 30 minutes. I get, brush my teeth, whatever the case is. And around 7-ish, 7:30, I'll be at the gym with my creative director, and we'll work out until about 9:30. We'll be in the gym. And then 9:30 to 10, I'm driving home in the morning traffic, and then I'll hop on meetings. My days always start off with meetings, typically a sales huddle, and then I do a client success huddle. So sales huddle obviously is get the team up, happy, etc. And then our client success huddle, we go through every single client one by one. So for example, not every single client, but like half of the clients today, half the clients tomorrow, etc. Make sure everybody's on track, everybody's within KPI. If they're not within KPI, we have action items to make sure that the client's taken care of. And then after that, I typically do my I call it my morning admin task or my morning checklist. Check your bank accounts, check marketing KPIs, check client success KPIs, check response messages, email, Slack, text messages. I'm not good at it, but I'm getting better. And then either I will have some sort of a check-in call with a client. So I'll have like an hour or 2 hour block with those. I'll phone call them, FaceTime them, whatever the case is. I have sales calls. And then after that, I have deep work. So deep work is building something to solve a problem or a constraint. So something that's broken, not something we're really trying to achieve. I save that ambitious stuff for the weekends. And then so on Mondays from 6:30 to 8, I got Bible study. And then after that, typically from 8 to 10 o'clock, I go play pickup soccer. So that's something that has made me very happy lately. So there's rooftop open soccer. I come home, go to bed, or come home, eat, watch TikToks or YouTube for like an hour. And I'll try to be in bed by like 11 midnight. So that's professional life. Personal life, I guess I need some categories. Let's think. Fitness. So something, like I said, fitness is something I'm taking more seriously. Because if you look good or if you feel good, look good, you perform better. Eating better has been something that I'm trying to get better at because I love eating Chipotle every day. And my
Chipotle not good for you?
It's not, no, especially if you get the honey chicken and drown it in Tabasco. No, it's not. So health has been a lot better. Relationships is something I'm working on. And the reason why I say something is working on is I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's like I now understand what I'm looking for in a girl, right? So that's something that I'm going out, setting. I treat it like a sales funnel, anyways. So dating is something that I'm obviously working on. And one of the mistakes, as an example, I made in the past is that I let that consume my professional life, and I swore to never make that mistake again. And I have people around me to help me make sure that's not happening. But other than that, we have because so this is a business so far, right? A lot of what I'm telling you is business. The second thing I have, I guess, on the side, I don't want to call it a side hustle, but it's a side quest, I guess is the best way to put it, is I want to document. So I have a second YouTube channel where I want to document and share everything I wish I knew when I first started. Like all the lessons, all the mistakes. And the reason why I love this channel is because the frame that I go into is that I'm just talking to my younger self. And this really inspired what really inspired me to do this is because I saw a TikTok, ironically enough, where it said something along the lines of, if you're not happy or you're not satisfied with where you're at right now, just think of what the 7-year-old self would say to you right now, right? And that really hit me because I'm proud, but I'm not satisfied, right? And I got that by a guy named Christian Guzman, who has a gym in Houston, right? So one of my favorite gyms, one of my favorite entrepreneurs that I look up to. And I'm happy I'm proud of what I've done and what I've been able to do, but I don't think I'll ever be satisfied because I feel like the second you admit that you're satisfied, it introduces complacency. And that's when, if you're not growing, you're dying, right? So I want to share everything I wish I knew when I first started, all the mistakes, all the lessons, what it really is like to build a business, because I feel like business is not for some people, right? And I love that channel so much because, we've only have like 1-2 videos on it. So we're starting to ramp that up more. But what is the 7-year-old Ben gonna like? Imagine a 7-year-old Ben next to me, just talking to me, like, hey, you've done something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's that everything we're upset about is everything we wish for.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
that to me is the vision. And then in addition to that, the way I'm gonna quote unquote monetize that is it's not for me, right? I guess it is for me, just not monetarily. In addition to that, one thing I really want to do is I want to start a charity where it's Benji Serves. I just came up with it, right? Benji Serves, where we're going to build schools in countries in poverty like Vietnam, somewhere in Africa, just all over the world, and have people like, if they watch the channel and support it, they like you send money into it or something, or like give money to the charity to build schools. And the reason why I wanted to do school specifically is school provides what? It provides an education, right? And you see all of these other charities, nothing against them. They're obviously good, doing good for the world. But my logic behind this was food, supplies, that stuff, it goes away, right? You eat it, it's gone, right? But you can't take away somebody's education. So that to me is the long-term goal. Because just seeing other people, like, not everybody's blessed with the opportunities that I would say I have, right? I grew up in America, right? That to me is already one of the biggest blessings that I've gotten.
Right there. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So having that, not everybody gets that opportunity, unfortunately. Not everybody gets to have a roof over their head. I wouldn't say we grew up extremely poor, but we grew up in a questionable neighborhood is what I'll say, right? And not everybody got that opportunity. And so whenever I look at whether or not, whenever I feel like too cocky, I just know that somebody would die to be in a position that I'm in right now, or the opportunities that I've had, I've been granted or blessed with.
Change that someone would kill for it.
Yeah,
When they die for
that's
it.
better.
They'd kill for it.
Yeah.
So 2 things that stuck out for me there. Pick up rooftop soccer. That's interesting. Do you live in an apartment?
No, it's in Austin. You pay $75 a month. You play unlimited soccer.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Second thing, you genuinely care about your client's business because like you're their accountability partner.
I would say a little bit more than accountability partner, because it's like if I'm just their accountability partner, they're just paying me for a trainer basically. Like,
but you're calling them out when they're slipping.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have the power to call me out when I'm slipping.
Yeah.
Because it's a mutual partnership.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So the question we brought up earlier, what do you want to be remembered for?
The biggest thing is that the school thing. Like building a school is a big thing, and I want to be in a position where I can give away all the information that I know when it comes to building businesses and just becoming what I would consider a good human being, right? And the easiest way I would define that for myself and where I want to be in life is just do good for the world, right? If you've helped somebody in some way improve their life, to me, that is being a good person, right? If you do the opposite, I would say that is being a bad person, right? So, and yes, obviously, it would be cool to have a family legacy, be like the Rockefellers and have this waterfall trust, and that's great. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want the material stuff. I absolutely want the material stuff, right? I want a Porsche. I want to buy a Pilatus, right? A plane, a private jet, right? I want all that, right? But I know that if I help our clients make a lot of money, that will give me the skills and the money to venture into other business ventures, right? And eventually I can have that car, I can have that jet, right? I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh no, he just like, he doesn't want to buy nice. Like I absolutely want to buy nice
You're
stuff.
not a monk.
Yeah.
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 What's your superpower?
First thing in my head is what do I define as a superpower? Is it something that I have that other people don't? Is it I'm trying to define in my head what is a superpower? That's a really good question.
What do people say that they admire most about you that they wish they had, that you make look easy?
I would say it's the way I think. I think they say that from other people's words, my mindset and the way I logically think through things is something they absolutely love and admire.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why, is because I used to be the emotional thinker, the emotional decision maker,
mm-hmm.
right? And then I became more of a logical thinker. So just like the question you asked me, like, what is a superpower? Somebody could say, like, I don't know, they're good at sales or whatever, right? To me, it's I just define like what is a superpower, right? And I instantly think of like the Marvel guys, the superheroes or whatever. Like Batman has this one thing, and the red dude has that other thing, green guy, whatever, right? So, but like Batman has this trait that the red guy doesn't, right? I didn't watch any of this growing up, so I don't know their names. So to me, it's like, what do I have that I don't believe most people have? And I think it's the way that I think, the way I logically walk through concepts and think through things, just define words. And I think the way that I do a lot of this is that it's not what is the definition of word, it's how do I define it? So I think that's something that has helped me, and I guess that's my superpower.
You definitely look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
What are some last words you want to leave all the listeners with?
If me being in high school, 15, 16 years old can do it, you have absolutely no reason that you can't achieve what you want. Like, I get you have kids. I get you have to have a roof over your head. But I believe that if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to get it, right? Life's going to suck in the short term, from my experience. But if you take that sacrifice, it will not suck forever.
Yeah.
That is, I believe, a promise that I can make the viewer based off of my experience.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you so mumuch.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. Disruptors.